Hello, everyone. Make sure you like the stream. How's my audio? Let me know if everything is working so that we could get started. I know the title of the stream today was confusing for a lot of people. Like, what are you talking about, Armin? Some people are like, isn't Tommy far right? Like, some people were saying, like, oh, we don't hate Tommy, as if like they were accepting the label far right. Anyways, I will explain. So the title of today's stream is Why Does the Far Right Hate Tommy Robinson? Right? So let's watch together. Let me know in the live chat. Everything. Let me actually check my audio. So the title of it's working. Let me know if you have liked the stream. Please make sure you tell me. Yeah, we be live. We be live. This is Armin Navobi. This is the Atheist Republic. Oh, Susanna is here. Hi, Susanna. I see Dolly was here. Dolly was telling people to like the stream. Thank you so much, Dolly. Okay, so let's watch this. So these are some. By the way, Susanna sent me a lot of these videos. So thank you so much. Credit to Susanna. Audio exists. Thank you, Leventex. Let me know again, guys. Please let me know that you're liking the stream. I need you guys to confirm that. So let me actually put this video on. Before I actually show this video, let me show you the caption, right? Look at this, right? So a lot of people claim that Tommy is far right, right? And what does far right mean? What does far right mean? How do you? There's no specific definition for far right, but everyone uses it differently. I use the word far right sometimes, but I use it specifically for people who are, other than being right leaning, but they are also bigoted, they're racist, they are xenophobic, they're homophobic, they're misogynistic. Those are what I call far right people. And I don't use it as a blanket term. Some people just think like right and far right. They use it interchangeably as if all right-leaning people are far right. But most importantly, it seems that nationalism is now being used, is seen as to be far right, which is weird because nationalism, civic nationalism, is a liberal value. People want to defend their country. People who want to defend their nation state, people who want to defend their borders, people who want to defend the values that make their countries great, people who are against mass immigration, mass unfiltered immigration, right? They're not against legal migration, against limited legal controlled migration. They're completely in favor of that, but they're just against mass migration. People who are against Islam as an idea that anybody who understands completely, it's just rational to be against, like once you understand Islam. All of these, the list of the things that I mentioned to you, if you have that, they call you far right. So basically, it makes no sense. Like that definition of far right doesn't make any sense because far right is supposed to, like far left and far right is supposed to be a category, a group of people who have some radical, irrational views that is harmful. They're fringe and is harmful to society. Nothing that I mentioned is that. So their definition of far right makes no sense. But my definition of far right is people who are right-leaning but also bigoted, racist, homophobic, misogynistic, and stuff like that, right? So based on the stream that I'm doing today is for me to show you that I don't think Tommy Robinson is any of that. Tommy Robinson, I have some criticism for Tommy Robinson. I could tell you the things that I criticized Tommy for, but I don't think he's racist. I don't think he's a bigot. I don't think he says, I don't think he's against migration. I think he's against mass migration. And I don't think he has any racist views. I don't think Tommy is far right. But not only that, so I'm going to show you today that I don't think Tommy is far right based on the definition. If your definition of far right is anybody who cares about their country and wants to protect the country, yeah, I mean, Tommy is far right, and so am I, and so does every sane person. And by that ridiculous definition, every sane person would be far right, right? But if by my definition of far right, not only Tommy is not far right, in fact, far right people hate Tommy. And I'm going to show you this, right? So this is this. Look at the caption. Tommy Robinson doesn't care if native British are replaced as long as they aren't Muslim. So let's see what this video says. Let's actually what Tommy says in this video. So let's watch it all the way through.
Still called extreme. It's still called racist. It doesn't matter what you do. Even though on our stage, half the people not talking were non-white. We embraced migrants that come to this country and love it. The problem is Islamic migrants come to this country and declare war on it. They wish to subjugate us. They're not here to integrate or assimilate. They're here to dominate.
So this caption, the person posting this, they hated Tommy for saying that he's okay with migrants. He's okay with migrants that will come in and that accept this country's way of life and values. And he says he's not against that. He's for migration. He's not against migration. Okay, so listen to this again.
It's still called racist. It doesn't matter what you do. Even though on our stage, half the people not talking were non-white.
So half the people on their stage is non-white. So this is not about white or non-white to him. This is not about skin. This is not about skin color. This is about values.
We embrace migrants that come to this country and love it. The problem is
we embrace migrants that come to this country and love it. So this is not xenophobic. This is a defense against bad ideas. This is not a defense against a group of an ethnicity, a nationality. He says we embrace people who come to this country and love it. They love the British way. They love the British values. They love this country.
Islamic migrants come to this country and declare war on it. They wish to subjugate us. They're not here to integrate or assimilate. They're here to dominate.
They're not here to assimilate. They're here to dominate. It's true. The way he said Islamic and not Muslim, right? So the way I would say this, because what does he mean by Islamic? Does he mean Muslim? And if he means Muslim, is he generalizing all Muslims? I will show you videos today that you shouldn't be generalizing all Muslims. Again, I always say on this channel, I'm completely fine to generalize Islam as purely evil. All Islam is bad. There's no good Islam or bad Islam. All Islam is bad. But there are good Muslims and there are bad Muslims, right? And the good Muslims, they have views about Islam that we disagree with, and that's fine. We could just we don't make agreement a condition for friendship and unity. There are many good Muslims who are wrong about Islam, and it's okay that we have a disagreement about what Islam is, and we could work with them. We could work with those Muslims, right? And so does Tommy Robinson, and I'll show you that. But you can see that this far-right people are triggered when Tommy says stuff like that. But let me show you more videos. Let me see. And guys, let me know if you think I'm getting anything wrong. Alfred is here. Thank you so much, Alfred. He's highlighting your comments. So I know a lot of people have a lot of passionate views about Tommy, for him or against him. But tell me what you think I'm getting right or what you think I'm getting wrong, right? Let me actually see this video. Yes. So this is pretty cool. Let me also bring the tweet regarding this so that you can see what the caption was. So what these people are saying. Again, thank you so much for Susanna for highlighting this, right? So the caption for this one says, I couldn't stop laughing making this video of Talmud Tommy. They're calling him Talmud Tommy, right? Tommy Robinson is a raging Zionist Jew who takes money, $ from Israel, from USA and UK taxpayers, starts the race wars, UK riots, and figures the whites won't notice. This is flat out hysterical, if not so. I don't know what this is. GD disgusting. I don't know what it is. Share. So let's look at the video he compiled. And you can see there's a tweet by Tommy saying, I'm a Zionist working for Israel with the Israeli flag. But it's not just that. Watch this. I mean, I'm a proud Zionist. By the way, if you guys don't know, I'm a Zionist here as well. I'm a proud Zionist. But let's see Tommy. Yeah, but by the way, I didn't know, until, I think last year or so that Tommy was a Zionist. And I just love Tommy. Like, I just love that even more. Like, that's pretty base. That's pretty badass. Let's watch this. But I don't know why Zionist Jew. How is he a Zionist Jew? As if Jew is bad, but using that as an insult. So it just shows these people's racism. And shows that Tommy is not a racist, by the way. So let's watch this. So this is just a compilation.
Why are people angry? I'll tell you what.
Look at, so these are pictures of Tommy with a IDF shirt. And then just meeting with Jews, like wow, you exposed Tommy. He was meeting with Jews. No way, was he? Wow. Oh my God. Okay, let's watch this.
Why are people angry? I'll tell you why they're angry. Because Hamas were allowed to over.
Look at this. Look at Talmud Tommy Robinson. They're insulting him by calling him Talmud Tommy. What? This is the people who are making these videos. This is what I call far right, not Tommy. So watch
I'll
this.
tell you why they're angry. Because Hamas were allowed to overtake London, overtake our capital city. Every weekend, flying ISIS flags, Hamas flags, calling for jihad. The police did nothing.
Oh wow, Tommy takes Israeli money. Guys, how come Tommy is getting... Guys, is anybody watching from Israel? Can I get some super chats from Israel? Why is Tommy getting money from Israel? I want money from Israel. Like, first of all, the idea that Tommy takes money from Israel, like, do you know how many people donate to Tommy? Obviously, some of it is going to be from people from Israel. Like, how is that? Wow, Tommy takes money from Israel. Tell me which country Tommy doesn't. Like, I think there would be a shorter list of countries that there are not with people that haven't been donating to Tommy. Israelis demand Europe take refugees. So we want it to be the most popular name in the United States. Oh wait, so, hold on. Let's see. Let's read this caption. Okay, so what is this? So if you listen to the news, then you've heard that Muhammad is the most popular name in the United Kingdom, right? So we want it to be the most popular name in the United Kingdom. There should be lots of Muhammads in Britain and Sweden and France. Not there, not here, not here. That's what we want. So it's funny, they're using like a video of one religious Israeli Jewish person that says like, okay, you guys could have the the Muslims, we don't want them here. As if what does that expose? Does that expose like a policy by Israel to what? Okay, so they're looking at UK, they're like, okay, you guys are changing your demographic with mass migrations, and we don't want that here. Like, first of all, that makes sense. I don't know what you think you're exposing. So what is this guy saying?
I've seen a lot of news about how local Europeans are mad that tourists are just ruining their cities, and they're complaining and they're squirting the water. You guys just have to accept at this point that you're our Disney World now. That's your function in this world. All your economies have stagnated. You don't produce anything besides the prostitution of your own history and cured meats. That's
Wait, is there more of Tommy here? Because I don't want to show the rest of this. Okay, so they were just saying that Tommy is like support. Like, these are other Jews that are saying some things that this guy doesn't like, and says like, oh, Tommy supports these people. Okay, so that's the entire point. Anyways, they're triggered. Yeah, let's go to the next video. What is the caption for this one? This is another triggered person, another racist person posting this, being triggered by Tommy. Let's see what did Tommy say here that triggered him. Okay, so this one says, Tommy Robinson, people think I'm against immigration. No, he wants to import 14 million women into Britain from Saudi Arabia. So this person is triggered by Tommy Robinson because he says that he wants women to be able to come from Saudi Arabia to the UK. So we'll listen to this. Is that the video? Wait, no, that's not the right one. Is that? Oh, yes, it is. Let's watch this.
All right, cool. Yeah. Let's quickly do a quick Q&A, okay? Yeah. Would you rather date a Muslim girl or a man?
Come on, I have dated Muslim girls.
Well, really? Yeah.
I have dated, like, oh wow, they're exposing Tommy. Wow, look at this. The racists are posting this video to say like Tommy has dated Muslim girls. Well, this is the racist. This is the bigots. This is the far right thinking that this is bad. Right? But for us, this just shows that he's not a bigot. He has dated Muslim girls. So they're like, look, the question is designed. Like, actually, look at this. Look at the question.
All right, cool. Yeah. Let's quickly do a quick Q&A, okay? Yeah. Would you rather date a Muslim girl?
Would you rather date a Muslim girl or a man? Right? Because look, the question, they're asking him as if like, oh my God, I would never date a Muslim girl. So like the question is supposed to be challenging. And Tommy is like, this question is not a challenge for me. I have dated Muslim girls. Okay. Oh my God. And they're posting this to expose him. Okay, wow. Okay.
come on. I have dated Muslim girls. Well, really? Yeah.
People say, even about immigration, people think I'm against immigration. I'd open the British Embassy tomorrow in Saudi Arabia and I'd let every woman leave. Let them all come over and leave every Muslim man scratching his head going, what's going on?
Yes. so he's not against Saudis. He's not against like Muslims in general. He knows that Muslim women coming from Saudi, they're not going to be a threat. That's what he's saying. That's what he thinks. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't agree with him on that because, I mean, technically, if you allow all Muslim women from Saudi Arabia, I mean, I think he's joking a little bit here because that would be obviously that would be a bad idea. That would be mass migration, right? But in Tommy's, and also they will come and they will have a lot of children, and you know their ideas are different, and you know not every Muslim woman in Saudi Arabia needs protection from Muslim men in Saudi Arabia. I'm not denying that a lot of them do, but it's not like we don't need to protect all Saudi women from Saudi Arabia. But besides like getting into the details of why that would not be a good idea, Tommy's mindset is like, yeah, I'm not against migration. Like what Muslim woman from Saudi Arabia, let them come in. It's the men that he's concerned about, right? So he's like, I'm not against migration. In fact, I would be delighted to see that all of the women come here, and they would be like, what the hell? We just lost all our women. Where did they go? But again, I'm not endorsing this policy that Tommy is saying, but again, it shows that Tommy is not a racist. He's not a bigot. He's just concerned about his country. So listen to this part again. It's pretty funny. I love it. And they're trying to, again, when the far right is trying to expose Tommy, that means the people who are not far right, they could use that to show that, okay, so Tommy is not far right. This is the difference between Tommy and the far right. So listen to this part again. It's kind of funny.
People say, even about immigration, people think I'm against immigration. I'd open the British Embassy tomorrow in Saudi Arabia and I'd let every woman leave. Let them all come over and leave every Muslim man scratching his head going, what's going on?
Okay, so some people are like, so Tommy Robinson wanted to bring fertility to Muslim girls. I mean, I don't know what you're saying, but again, I don't think he's like I think he's just doing tongue in cheek here. He's not saying, I think he's joking a little bit here. But again, I'm not questioning, I'm not evaluating whether that would be a good policy. I'm just showing the mindset that Tommy has. It's not like anti-immigration, okay? He's just anti-mass migration, unfiltered anti-mass migration and anti-illegal immigration. That's what he's against, right? So let's go to the next video. My God, this is so funny because they're so triggered when they're posting it. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, expose Tommy. He's actually not racist like we want him to be. So what is this video? This one is video number 4. Let me see the caption for this one. Oh, okay. So this is just Tommy himself. So let's watch this.
Let me just do a quick video addressing the journalists. The Daily Mail, as I eat my lamb. Beautiful. The Daily Mail, who sent journalists to the hotel where I was with my children, photographed my family and gave away their location. So yesterday, 3 of their addresses, I got pictures of all of them, okay? And I've contacted them. You need to contact me, editor, because if not, I am going to come here. I don't want to. I've made this clear. I don't think that's right. I don't think it's morally right, and what you've done is totally wrong. You have destroyed a family holiday when I was with my children. So let's get the record straight. I didn't flee the country because of riots. I've left the country before any riots. I held 100,000 people strong peaceful protests. Riots kicked off in Liverpool that were nothing to do with me. Every one of my videos that I've done so far have clearly called for peace and calm. You're just...
He's not lying, by the way. Like, I've seen his videos. Like, he's obsessed. He's so obsessed with telling people to make sure they keep peace and calm and follow the law, and to not, not to give in to the urges to, like, if somebody does something, to respond violently, even if someone else is being violent. Like, he can't, before the protest started, I didn't see a single video of him that he wasn't reminding people of that, to keep the peace, follow the order, do not do anything violent. And he was even obsessed with telling people not to drink. He was telling people not to drink because he was worried that if you're drinking, you might do something stupid. And every one of the protests before them, he after it, he came and he thanked the police. He kept on thanking the police and the officials for maintaining the safety and security. And it's so weird that this man is now being accused, the person that was so obsessed with maintaining peace and like not committing violence, he was being accused of being responsible for the violence. Like, what does he have to do? And he always knew that as soon as somebody somewhere does something stupid, like as soon as somebody attacks a Muslim or attacks a mosque, or I don't know, do something other stupid, some other far right or a bigot or a violent person does something, they're going to come and blame it all on him. It doesn't matter how much he tells the public that, yeah, hey guys, if you are not with me if you do this stuff. As soon as somebody does something stupid, they're going to pin it on him. But they don't do it to the other side. The other side, even if like some Muslims come and say like, oh yeah, we're going to commit violence because the scripture says so that we could do. And even if they say that themselves, they're not going to blame it on Islam. So, I mean, the double standard is unreal.
You're trying to throw it on my lap, so are the government. But what you've done with my children, you upset their holiday, you ruined their holiday. Okay? Now you're all saying I fled Cyprus. Okay? Yeah, you've broke up my family holiday. So I want to ask you the question. You come where my children were and you give their location. Is it, what's good for the goose?
This is, by the way, insane. They do this on purpose. They come after his family. Like, I've seen that. It's so unfair how they do this to him. Like, they know that this guy is brave and he's like taking a lot and they know how sensitive he is about his family. Okay, and he's such a family man, and they found his weakness. They have found his weakness because no matter what they do to him, no matter how much they, arrest him or harass him, he still keeps coming back stronger. But they know his family is a red line for him, so now they're trying to make it difficult for his family.
So I want to ask you the question. You come where my children were.
By the way, I'm not saying that Tommy doesn't do or say nothing wrong. I'm not saying that. I will give you my criticism for Tommy. I will tell you the things that I think he does wrong. But I don't care. Everybody does things that are wrong. Like, I mean, they should be called out. But nobody's perfect. I say some things that are wrong. I do things that are wrong. And again, I should be called out. He should be called out. And I don't endorse anybody 100%. I just see their good and their bad, and I celebrate their good and also criticize their bad.
And you give their location. Is it, what's good for the goose is good for the gander? Is it?
So they give it, on purpose, they give away the location. Basically, they dox his family. That's what the media did there.
Okay. Yeah, you've broke up my family holiday. So I want to ask you the question. You come where my children were and you give their location. Is it, what's good for the goose is good for the gander? Is it fair that I do that to you? See, I'm not a morally bankrupt wanker. You know I've got images of everyone in your family. You know I know the locations of where you are. Yeah? I'm asking you, is it fair for me to do that? If the answer's no, then stick to a rule book, lads, yeah? You know when I've done my investigation into a 5-part series of Muslim rapists, and I had 3 girls saying they're rapists, and I went to find those men. Do you know how many times we had surveillance on them there with their kids or their missus or their mum, and we didn't approach them? And do you know how much that costs when you've got a surveillance team, security team? Do you know we left it? Nope, he's with the family. Nope, kids are there. Nope. Unfortunately, yeah, because it's nothing to do with those innocent members of the family. Certainly not.
So when he's exposing some people within the Muslim community that are part of the grooming gang or doing like violent things or attacking children or using children or stuff like that, he's saying that he always was careful to make sure that the families, their Muslim families, will not pay any price for this. He says their Muslim families has nothing to do with them. So he always, when he was doing his journalism to expose these grooming gangs, he was always careful to make sure that they are the only ones that are paying the price for it, and nothing happens to their families, their Muslim families, because he says it has nothing to do with them.
Be recorded or to leave everlasting damage in their minds when you're confronting people to ask them questions. Now you haven't thought about that with my kids, yeah, who have been upset for days now, you've ruined their whole event. Again, I'll ask you, is it fair? So to the journalists, I'm not on the run, stop lying, yeah? I'm due in court on October 28th and 29th. That's when I'm due in court at the High Court of London. Stick the date in your diary, people. Yeah? That's when I go on trial for freedom of the press. for showing you the truth of how corrupt and how they lie. But to any other journalist, I will find you, yeah? So please think, is it right? If I'm sat, for example, with my mother, and you want to question me about something, is it right to come up and record her in front of my mum? And if it is right, expect me to go to your mum's. Yeah? Daily Mail editor, please, get in contact. I don't want to have to do this, yeah?
So by the way, I don't agree with Tommy if he's suggesting that because they did it, he's going to do that to them. Okay, because two wrongs doesn't make a right. So if he's suggesting that, I wouldn't agree.
Really don't. I don't think it's right. But you,
I would like him to keep to that moral standard that he has, that he doesn't go after family no matter what they do.
Have to deal with what you've done. You've doxed, endangered my children. I can show you the hundreds of threats there are now aimed at them and me as a family from your article. You could have wrote your article, you could have blurred everyone else's faces out, and you didn't have to give the location. That's what you could have done. You've purposely done it. So sit your wives down and explain to them what you've fucking done. Yeah? Explain to them that if there is a problem, it's because of your immoral behaviour. It's your work, okay? So any other journalists who are thinking about trying to confront me, you do it in front of my kids. I'm coming for you, yeah? And you...
Or maybe he's not going to do that, but he just wants to make sure that he says that so that they don't do that to him.
You've set the moral compass and the guidelines there, yeah? You've said, do your job, lads. Go and do your job. Don't photograph my children and don't give the location of where they are and endanger them. Because if you do, then you've set the rules of what's fair game. You have, yeah? And it's wrong. It's totally...
Yeah, but it's wrong. But even if they do something that is so vile and disgusting, it's still nothing to do with their children and their family. So I think even if they do something so vile and disgusting, we shouldn't retaliate. Like one should not retaliate in the same way, because at the end of the day, it's still their family still was not involved. It wasn't the family that did that.
Fucking wrong.
Yeah, somebody's saying he wouldn't do it. He said because he isn't morally bankrupt. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I understand that.
I would walk past my biggest enemy in the street. If he's with his kids, I'd keep walking. It's just men's rules. You...
yeah, okay.
Use no, like, to your wives, let them know. To the wives who were photographed yesterday, know they've been photographed. To your daughters, I ain't sharing that online. I just wanted to give you a peace of mind to think about what you've done to my family, yeah? I'm sure you had some sit-down meetings with your kids. Because it's not nice, is it? It's not nice.
Anyways, I don't know if he... Let me actually just finish this.
Don't play stupid fucking games because you'll win stupid prizes, right? So you're on notice. Any journalist, I will find you, yeah? Just act respectfully. If you want to question me, question me. Do not give the locations or photograph or do anything in front of my family, right?
How is that not a crime in the UK? If somebody is like giving away the location of your family, shouldn't he be able to legally like challenge them?
Now have a good day, everyone, because as you can see, I'm their target, but you're their target too. I'm their target because I've just read an article now. They want to make it against the law to share footage of rioters. What they mean is Muslim rioters, because they haven't shared it. The only people who shared it is us. Yeah? That's why they want to control X. Muslims kicking off across the whole country. I saw some stupid Muslim lawyer, the Muslim lawyer who represented those wrong-uns who attacked the police officers, saying, where's my video calling for no violence? I'm not going to have a moral lecture from you mug, because this Muslim lawyer is photographed with every grooming gang rapist from Telford. They're all his mates. Your circle of friends are child rapists, you're wrong. Yeah? White child rapists who rape little English girls. So don't try and lecture me. Least of all, when every video I've made has appealed for calm. You're all being fooled to the Muslim community. There ain't no EDL demos, yeah? You're being whipped up purposely by a government who wish to whip you up for violence on the streets. They've got all these little Telegram chat groups of Nazis apparently now. Yeah? That's to discredit the genuine British voice who's sick to death of the immigration into our country. And people upset, scared, upset, angry, all of it. Yeah? So our problems with the government, the establishment. People ain't marching into your areas in Walthamstow and all these different places. You're being lied to. So they're going to get you out on the streets, you're going to get angry, and then innocent English people are going to get attacked like they have done across the country, like in Birmingham last night. But don't worry, you probably won't get arrested because police don't enforce the law against you. But they're whipping you up, okay?
By the way, I'm going to show you guys a couple of other videos, and then I'm going to get to a video that is so. Again, Susanna sent me this, and this is Tommy. Like, not after this one, not this one, not the one after, not the one after that, but then the one after that is going to be a video of Tommy Robinson helping a Muslim clear his name. Okay, a Muslim man who was like falsely accused of sex trafficking and grooming. Tommy Robinson went out of his way to clear his name, and I will show you that. It's such a heartwarming video, and I have taken the timestamps of the parts that I wanted to show you, because the whole video is a lot longer than I could review. But I also give you the link to the video if you guys want to go watch the whole thing. But just bear with me until we get to that one. But what is this one? Let me see. Again, these are far-right people who are trying to expose Tommy. This is somebody saying, Tommy Robinson is a Zionist. Oh, no, a Zionist? Anything but a Zionist? Don't say it. Don't say it's true. Okay, let me see. What is the caption for this video? Tommy Robinson is a Zionist asset. He works in the interest of Israel, not England. So let's watch this.
All this extremism. So I'm very happy to meet the
Look, he's wearing an IDF shirt, Tommy Robinson. Based, pretty base. I like that.
Unless you're wearing a shirt or a button that says I'm a Zionist. What does
Yeah, so Tommy doesn't even. People are acting like they're exposing Tommy, being, oh no, wow, we found. Tommy doesn't want people to know this. Tommy doesn't want to know white British people, patriotic people to know that he's a Zionist. He's literally wearing a button that says I am a Zionist. Why? He's wearing IDF shirts. He's going to Israel. He's wearing it says right there, I'm a Zionist. Why do you think he's trying to hide it? Anyways, this is pretty base. Watch this.
All this extremism. So I'm very happy to meet the devil.
Unless you're wearing a shirt or a button that says I'm a Zionist. What does a Zionist mean to you? What is a Zionist?
What we've done and where we've come in 3 years, if we had funding, we'd finish Islam.
Realms about Zionism, about international banking, about a lot of things like that. And since it does denote that it is Israel first, can you possibly serve two masters? Meaning, can you serve England and Israel at the same time? Tommy Robinson.
What do you mean two masters? You don't. Okay. As somebody who believes in every nation state being able to defend itself, being able to having the right to exist and having the right to defend itself, you have to be a Zionist if you believe that. Okay, because what is Zionism? Zionism just is nationalism for Israel. Zionism is the belief that Israel should be a country and should be able to defend itself as a country. That is Zionism. I've been to Israel. I've talked to many Israelis, and they all have their own different ideas about what Zionism is, but this is the shared part. So there are other parts of it that they diverge from each other, that are not the same, but this is the shared part. And again, because this is the shared part, that would become, the shared part would be the definition. The parts that are different, that would not be the definition, but the part that they all share would be the definition. So the definition of Zion, it's like a Venn diagram, like all these different explanations of Zionism. The part where they all share together, that would be the definition. And based on that, the definition is anybody who believes that Israel should be a country and should be able to defend itself, they would be a Zionist. But this should not even be controversial, because I don't just think that about Israel. I think that about every country. Every country that is now been officially recognized as a country should be able to exist and should be able to defend itself. So being a Zionist is not very special. It only becomes special for Israel because no other country is threatened or its existence challenged as much as Israel. That's why Zionism is special. But if it wasn't being challenged, if Israel wasn't being constantly threatened to be annihilated, it would just be, Zionism would just be the same as South Africa or Uganda or Indonesia or Chile. These countries should exist. It would just be as significant as that. It's just basically that's what it means. Anyways, let's continue.
Of the EDL, based out of England and Luton, actually, right?
Luton, just north of London.
Okay. I want to ask him a few questions. Right, now, I noticed in your when you were speaking up there, or your co-partner, I forget his name again.
Kevin.
Yep, Kevin. He'd mentioned that you were the first group to fight Islam politically in England. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're the first group to tackle it and to take to the streets.
By the way, this is from years ago. He's a lot younger here, but they're digging this up. Like, they're posting this now. Like, this is quite recent, just like 2 days ago. A lot of far right people are trying to like expose Tommy as a far right. So these are the videos that they're digging up
against it. And we only took to the streets due to an inability by our political leaders and our political elite and our police forces to tackle this problem, to identify the problem. We have more Muslim extremists now in Europe than ever in history. Okay. And Islam's been trying to take over Europe for 1400 years, and it's now closer than it ever has been.
Isn't there other groups, though, like the National Front, the Front National, and the BNP, who's been fighting this for years?
When you talk about fighting it for years, those groups differ in many ways, because those are just Nazis, backward.
Have they not been fighting Islamification?
They fight anything that's not white. So they don't. We are sole purpose to tackle Islam. They tackle and they have a hatred for anything that's not white.
It's not white. Were you part of the BNP at one time?
I was part of the BNP in two.
Oh wow! So this was fantastic. Let's listen to this again. I was just bringing up another video. This is fantastic. He was showing his difference between himself and other people. Listen to this.
Our police forces to tackle this problem, to identify the problem. We have more Muslim extremists now in Europe than ever in history. Okay. And Islam's been trying to take over Europe for 1400 years, and it's now closer than it ever has been.
Isn't there other groups, though, like the National Front, the Front National, and the BNP, who's been fighting this for years?
When you talk about fighting it for years, those groups differ in many ways, because those are just Nazis, backward.
Have they not?
So those are the. So he's like he's separating. He's like, our group is different. We're not far right. Those other groups are like Nazis, backwards. He's basically talking. Look, even back then when Tommy was so young, because I was assuming that here he's not going to be as as wise as he is today, because maybe back then he was like more mixed with these types of groups. But now I'm looking at his videos all the way from back then, and he's like, yeah, we don't. Even back then, he didn't like these far right groups, like these other groups. Those groups that you're saying that they fighting Islam before me, these are just some Nazi backward. He's separating himself from these far right ideology.
I've been fighting Islamification.
They fight anything that's not white.
Yeah, those other groups, he's like, he's like, we're fighting Islam. Those other groups, they're just fighting anything that is not white. Even back then, I assume when I watch Tommy Robinson videos and I'm listening to him, and I'm saying like, okay, this guy is not a racist. This guy separates Islam from Muslims. This guy is not against migration. He's against mass, unfiltered migration and illegal migration. Because he constantly gets accused of racism, I assume that, okay, maybe when he was younger, he was maybe more racist. Maybe back then he was racist, and then he just became better. He became wiser. But now when I look at his old videos, this video is from years ago. He's like, yeah, we're not like those other groups. Those other groups are just anti-white. Even back then he was like that. Like, this is amazing, because I thought he's just not going to be right now. I mean, he is not as good as he is right now when it comes to explaining things, but he was still not racist. He was still anti-far right.
So they don't. We are sole purpose to tackle Islam. They tackle and they have a hatred for anything that's not white.
It's not white. Were you part of the BNP at one time?
I was part of the BNP in 2004.
Were you part of the BNP at one time?
So he left them.
I was part of the BNP in 2004.
Were you part of the BNP at one time?
I was part of the BNP in 2004.
So okay. Why are they... Look, I didn't replay this part 3 times. They just did that themselves to expose them. By the way, he left the EDL because it became racist. Like, how racist can Tommy be if he left the group that he started because they're racist? Like, oh yeah, the BNP is straight up Nazis. Yeah, and people are exposing him because he was part of it. Yeah, he left because he didn't agree with them. He started his own group that was not racist. Let's look at this other video. This guy is pissed. that Tommy is a Zionist, exposing him as a Zionist. Again, by the way, if you are a Zionist, then that means you cannot be far right. One of the main traits of far right is their anti-Semitic, their hatred for Jewish people, right? That's one of the most common traits of far right people. So if they say like, oh my God, Tommy is a Zionist, well, good. So then he's not far right then. So let's watch this.
One of the chief instigators of these riots is someone called Tommy Robinson. And you can see him here wearing a t-shirt of the Israeli Defense Forces. He is openly taking photographs, posing with the genocidal army. He's gone to occupy Palestine illegally and taken photos on top of Israeli tanks. And we know for a fact that his benefactors, his patrons, are Israelis, right? His legal fees have been paid by Israelis, by Zionists. And he goes on Israeli television and he...
By the way, I don't know if this is true, because Jews and Israelis are always like accused of being funding things behind the scenes and, you know, stuff like that. But I mean, it can be true, because Israelis, just like other people, want to support the people that they agree with. I mean, Americans do that, Canadians do that, French people do that, South Koreans do that. So why can't Israelis support? But again, the trope is that Jews are just behind the scenes, always controlling and pulling the strings. So I don't know if this is true or not, but if it is true, that's great. I mean, why not? There's this guy that is they identify with as a Zionist and somebody who's trying to protect his country from Islamization, and they support him. So I mean, that goes against the other video that you were showing, like, oh, Jews want to protect themselves from Islamization, but they want the UK to be Islamized. Well, this claim contradicts that, because if they're supporting Tommy, then they're also supporting UK from being against being Islamized, right? Because why would you support Tommy? Like, if maybe you have a shared enemy, which is Islamization of countries, and you're supporting the same person that is on your side.
Admits that all of these riots, these pogroms, are related to October 7th. Basically admitting that, well, you know, he doesn't like that people are protesting against genocide. So advancing an Israeli agenda, which is what? Which is...
Yeah, so regarding the earlier video, Ben is saying maybe he wants to protect Muslim women. Yeah, he does. He does. Tommy does see the benefit in protecting Muslim women from Muslim countries. He has been showing support for that. So again, he can't be racist or bigot.
Genocide. So advancing an Israeli agenda, which is what? Which is Islamophobia, which is anti-Arab racism. Tommy Robinson. That's not his real name. This guy has about 5 different names. We think his real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon. This guy calls himself, you know, a massive English patriot. But ironically, his stepfather is Scottish and his mother is Irish.
So look how he's accusing Tommy of being racist. But then look at the racism he has himself. So what does it matter where your ancestry is from? Being British, if you're a citizen of the UK, right? These people don't get it. Why are you using his heritage or his ethnicity against him? If he's a citizen and he's a proud patriot, then that makes him a UK citizen, and he wants to defend his nation state. Wouldn't you? If an Arab man comes and becomes a UK citizen and is proud of his country and wants to defend the UK and defend its values, would you not call him British? I mean, if you don't, then I could accuse you of being an anti-Arab racist. So why wouldn't you accept Tommy? Because who cares where his ancestry is from? Like, this is racism. It's amazing how you accuse Tommy of being racist, and in the very next sentence, you just said something that is racist.
You know, when you have someone like that calling other people less...
Yeah, and again, Susanna is pointing that Tommy is really passionate about Raif Badawi and ex-Muslims. Yes, and he's very concerned about Raif and his family, because when Tommy really relates to people when he sees their family suffering because of what other people are doing to them. Because he's such a family man, he always relates to that. He always feels like really there's a lot of compassion that he has with people when he says people, when he sees their children and when he sees that their suffering is affecting their children, That really affects Tommy. And it doesn't matter what race you are. And it doesn't even matter if you're a Muslim. And I will show you that, by the way. I'll show you that in the next couple of videos, that he doesn't care. Like, Tommy is, like, this channel is anti-Islam and not anti-Muslim. And if you don't believe that, I will show you that. I will show you that. He actually sympathizes with a lot of Muslims, and he wants to protect them. He's like us. He's aggressively anti-Islam, but he's not anti-Muslim. He's anti-mass migration, but he's not anti-Muslim. And I'll show you that.
English, and changing his name to something more English, from Yaxley Lennon to Robinson. He fled the United Kingdom just a few days ago. How can someone call themselves an English patriot and they have such disregard and contempt for the law? Again, you want to talk about illegal immigrants?
No, what do you mean he's coming back for his court date? He's coming back, and also the law is being used unfairly against him. The law is not being consistent, and when it comes to treating Tommy, look at this.
How can someone call themselves an English patriot? And he fled the United Kingdom just a few days ago. How can...
No, he's coming back for his court date. I showed you the video.
Someone call themselves an English patriot and they have such disregard and contempt for the law. Again, you...
Imagine how patriotic that you have to be when you don't have to come back, but because you have respect for the law, you are coming back for your court date because you want to show that you have respect for the law. That's how patriotic this man is, because he wants to show that I'm not anti the rule of law, that he's willing to pay a heavy price for it, including maybe going to jail, because he wants to show respect for the rule of law. That's how patriotic this man is. It's unbelievable. You guys don't deserve Tommy, honestly. You guys are so ungrateful. Like, this is a national treasure, honestly.
I want to talk about illegal immigrants. This guy literally entered the United States with a fake passport. I mean, the hypocrisy is rank. No one is more illegal than American troops on foreign soil. No one is more illegal than British spy planes buzzing over Gaza, or French troops occupying Africa. Okay? Those people you're calling immigrants are refugees. They're running away from our mess. We bombed their homes. We killed their friends. We killed their families. We left them jobless. We destroyed their economies. We destroyed them with sanctions.
What are you talking about? The reason their economies would be nowhere if it wasn't because of the growth of the economy of Western countries. Yeah, did everything that the Western countries did, was it all correct? No, they did. Western countries have committed crimes in other countries. But why don't you see the good part? Like, they wouldn't even have countries. Their entire nation states are built based on the framework, the modern framework that Western countries have designed. And that's why they have any advancement that they have. Their technology comes from the West. Their methodology comes from the West. The entire politics come from the West. The West have gifted so much to these other countries. Their economies would be 500 years behind if it wasn't because of Western countries advancing this much and sharing it with the rest of the world. So you see that you give us a few examples of certain bad things that have happened. A lot of the bombings, by the way, also was not the Western countries' fault. Some of them are criminal and some of them were not. Some of them were legitimate. Not all bombings are illegitimate. These countries would not even have this modern form of a nation state that Western countries have created, that has made the whole world such a better place and such a more stable place. The whole world is now benefiting from that. They're benefiting from the internet that comes from the West. They're benefiting from computers that came from the West. They're benefiting from medical technology that came from the West. That's why they have their less disease. The reason why all of these countries have now access to clean water, to much higher quality of life, much higher lifespan, much lower child death, mortality rates, all of this disease. The lifestyle of these countries, of the people of these countries, are so much better than even 100 years ago because of Western countries. Why are you being so ungrateful?
We looted and robbed their resources for centuries.
No, you didn't. You gave, first of all, their resources. Many of them was with their agreement. The resources that you say they looted, they wouldn't even have access to it if these Western countries didn't go there and use the technology and coming up with the agreements that they actually managed to give both of the Western countries. It was a win. Most of it was win-win agreements. Like the The oil that Saudi Arabia and Iran had, they didn't even have access to that oil until the technology of the Westerners made them have access to it. Some of those agreements of how much the share the Western countries get because of the technology and how much of it they get, some of it was fair, some of it was unfair. But it wouldn't even be available to them if the Western countries were not there. And what are you talking about? Looting? Yeah, so there were some unfair agreements, but why are you not talking about all the things that were gifted to them because of Western countries?
Thieving.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't even know what the hell this is for. Like when the British came to Iran and they discovered oil and they wrote an agreement with Iranians, with the Qajar dynasty. The Qajar dynasty was like, you guys are idiots. Like these people, like it was on the newspaper, right? They were like, why are they buying this from us? This is useless stuff. And they're paying us so much money for it. They're like, this idiot British people, like, yeah, let's show. And it was with an agreement. It was signed agreements. It wasn't like, oh, let's get that by force. They were like, hey, we did, this is liquid stuff coming out of your ground. We want it. Can we have it? They're like, how much are you willing to pay us for it? Like this much. We're like, oh my God. Okay, yeah, sure, take it. It was an agreement. And then when the Iranians realized, for example, many years later, that this is actually worth a lot more than they assumed, they decided we don't like that agreement anymore. And the British were like, well, we have an agreement. And they're like, we don't like it. And they Mossadegh came and they're like, okay, we need a new agreement. And every time, like in the Middle East, the Saudis or the Iranians or the Iraqis, every time, even though they had the agreement that this is how much the share that the British or the other people are supposed to get, when the people did a protest and like, we don't like this agreement, the British are like, okay, let's sign a new agreement. If you don't like it, let's sign a new agreement. They had to always give in to the demand of the people, even though they had a previous agreement. They're like, well, we didn't know how much this is worth. So every time they came up with a new agreement. I don't know what you're complaining about. Again, I know there were many examples of situations that were unfair, but you're making it seem like they just came in with force and with no agreements. They were like, oh, we're just going to have this and we're just not going to care about what you want. It wasn't like that.
To the point they can't recover and stand up on their own 2 feet. We kept drilling this into their heads, how the white man...
By the way, I'm not making this up. I literally have newspaper. There's pictures of newspapers back then. People saying these people are idiots. This is a bad smelling liquid that has no use, and they're giving us so much money for it.
And is so much better. And now that they want to come over and take a look and see where their money went, you put up a wall. If only there was a wall to stop your thieving ass 300 years ago. If only. The same people.
What do you mean thieving? These countries were so much more backwards before the British Empire came there. There's a Monty Python sketch about this. Like, what did the Romans ever do for us? Go watch that. This is exactly the copy of that. They built those countries. They made them civilized. Also, when you're talking about 300 years ago, back then we didn't have this modern notion of a nation state. Like now that we have that, back then we had empires. Empires, how the whole world was. Like, oh my God, the evil British didn't recognize the sovereignty and the independence of these places. What are you talking about? This is the idea of nation state and every people having a nation with a state that represents that nation. This is a modern idea. Before the British Empire, everything else that was before it was an empire. The British Empire was just replacing other empires. Like, oh, now you want a wall? Yeah, this idea of a border for nation states where it was invented in Western Europe after the Age of Enlightenment, and and it was implemented after the First World, mostly after the First World War in everywhere else. This is something that when the Europeans they invented for themselves, they gave it to the rest of the world as well. They didn't. Once they accepted that this is our nation state, and we will have a nation and a state and a border and a state that reflects that nation and a border to protect it, they didn't say that this is just for us. Once it was for them, it was for every country. That was the whole point of having the League of Nations and then eventually the United Nations. To again, like everybody gets to have this now, not just us. What do you mean? This is so unfair.
Finding about migrants, they want Arabs to tolerate Israeli invaders. These are people with weapons, with tanks, with nuclear bombs, and they encourage British Jews or European Jews to leave the country because they're so anti-Semitic. They want them to just leave the country and go to Palestine and emigrate on top of somebody else's land and give them bombs too. Christ, I mean, double standard is really, is really an understatement. You want to stop people from exercising their right under international law to seek asylum? Fine, but don't turn around then and lecture the world.
No. Okay, first of all, what are you talking about? They could still, people could still. The problem is not, they're not against asylum seekers. The problem against people taking advantage of the asylum seeker. In fact, this is in favor of the asylum seekers, right? A lot of the people who are not in danger of dying, they are economic migrants taking advantage of the asylum system, even though their lives are not in danger. There's the asylum seekers also, by the way, is a small problem. It's a small part of the bigger situation. Every country could be like, okay, this is our share of asylums that we want to accept. The problem is, because of the pushback laws that the international law is against, everybody could flood the system, and they cannot send them back because this is an unfair system that we have, that no country could be able to control who's coming in now and who they accept, because they have flooded the system and the system cannot even digest what's happening here. But if it was, and also a lot of people who are not actually going to die if they go back are coming here and claiming that they're going to die. And again, this is why do I say this is actually in favor of asylum seekers? Because if the system wasn't being flooded with this many migrants, then the people who are actually in danger of dying could actually come take advantage of the system. But the system has been so flooded with migrants that are just trying to upscale their life, like they're trying to have a better lifestyle. Now all of the people who genuinely could take advantage of the limited, controlled, filtered asylum seeking process, they can't anymore, because the whole resources of the country is trying to figure out what the hell am I supposed to do with this tsunami of migrants. So if you actually care about asylum seeking people who are in danger of dying, then you should stop this mass migration so that they could come and apply legally and the cases could be attended to, because now we have enough resources for that.
About human rights the next morning, all right? And don't talk to me about securing our borders. Our borders are perfectly fine. We have nuclear weapons. We have one of the best navies in the world. It's Arab borders that need securing from us, okay? It's Africa.
First of all, you're insane, okay? First of all, the borders are not, you're not going to be able to just secure the borders with nuclear weapons. If people are flooding your nation state with people that are coming in and claiming, asylum, what are you going to do with your nuclear weapon? Are you advocating, like, if my immigration system is processed, that whole process is being flooded with a whole bunch of people that I cannot filter or monitor or control or use my migration processing system to be able to figure out what's happening? If I cannot, what am I supposed to do with my nuke? Are you advocating for me nuking mass migrants that are coming to my country? Obviously I can't use my nukes to protect my border in that situation. What the hell are you talking about? Nukes, what am I supposed to do? Are you saying that we're fine because from mass migrations because we have nukes? So are you advocating for nuking mass migrants? Because that is pretty insane. Right? And also you're saying, like, oh, it is Arab countries that look at this. This part is
perfectly
insane.
Fine. We have nuclear weapons. We have one of the best navies in the world. It's Arab borders that need.
Yeah, because the Navy and the nukes are not good because we can't just shoot mass migration, okay? I don't know, maybe you talk about human rights, but yeah, that's not ethical or legal.
Securing from us, okay? It's African borders that need securing from the West.
No, this part. Listen. It's Arab borders.
It's African borders that needs.
No, not Africa here. Let's go a little bit back.
We have one of the best navies in the world. It's Arab borders that need securing from us, okay? It's African borders that need securing from the West.
I have news for you. Arab countries are begging the West to come help them secure their borders. Did you know that? Also, many African countries beg the West to come help them secure their borders. Some of them recently have decided to kick out Westerners, mainly the French, and ask the Russians to come secure their borders. And now they're regretting their decision. Okay, they're like, yeah, the Russians are not as good at securing our borders. We shouldn't have kicked out the French because now we're fucked. Okay, so these Arab and African countries, they actually want the West to come help them because, like, we cannot secure our borders. Please help us. So maybe go talk to the leaders of these Arabs and African countries before you make a fool out of yourself.
The top 3 countries that produce refugees are Ukraine, Syria, and Afghanistan. All of these countries have one thing in common. They've been bombed and destroyed by NATO. All right? The West invaded.
What are you talking about? Hold on. Syria, Afghanistan has been destroyed by the communists and the Islamists. Okay? And if Afghanistan was bombed, it's because they attacked United States first, and they protected the person who attacked American civilians. But Afghanistan was destroyed Afghanistan was progressing and modernizing extremely fast until the communists showed up and ruined that country, and they created a power vacuum that the Islamists came take over, which is basically deja vu, because that's exactly what happened in Iran as well. It's usually the far leftists come in and they destroy liberalism, and then the Islamists always come after and take advantage of the power vacuum. That's what happened in Afghanistan, and that's what happened in Iran. And Afghanistan was ruined before the United States showed up there and bombed people. The United States showed up only there after they attacked the United States. So there's that. And also Syria was destroyed way before the bombing of ISIS happened. Syria was destroyed because the spark started because the people there were doing a revolution against their own government. That's what happened. So the people there were unhappy with their government, and they were doing a revolution against it. And then eventually it failed, and there was a power vacuum, and the ISIS came take advantage of that and filled the power vacuum and took over the main parts of Syria and Iraq. And only then the Westerners showed up to attack ISIS, because ISIS was also attacking Western countries. So again, I don't know where you're getting all this information. You're extremely ignorant.
All right. The West invaded and destroyed these countries. How?
No, they attacked the West first. The West responded.
Bizarre that Tommy Robinson / Stephen Yaxley Lennon / Paul Harris / Israeli Zionist name won't mention.
Oh my God, Israeli Zionist person who says I'm not a racist. Like, oh wow, look at this. He's friends with the Jews. I'm not racist, but he's bad because he's friends with the Jews.
His name won't mention any of this.
Yeah, except people are mentioning it. The Arabs and Muslim countries are actually extremely anti-Palestinians themselves. So I don't know if he wants to highlight that, because I think they see them all as the same. They don't know the nuance of what's happening in the Middle East. They see what's happening to Palestine and like, oh, why are you bombing Arab countries? When the Islamic Republic of Iran was just recently sent 300 drones and missiles towards Israel, it was Arab countries that were coming in and defending Israel and shooting down these missiles in the sky so it doesn't hit Israel. So yeah, the Arab countries in the Middle East are actually trying to get closer to Israel and away from Palestine and the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Far right in France, in Britain, in America won't mention sanctions bombs that create the refugees that they keep whining about so much. If you're so worried about foreign...
So yeah, the Islamic Republic in Iran, not Islamic Republic of Iran, because it's occupied Iran, right? Iran has been occupied by the Islamic Republic.
That they keep whining about so much. If you're so worried about foreigners coming to the country, then stop bombing people, stop stealing their resources, and mind your business, all right? Otherwise...
They're not stealing their resources. Right now, any form of agreement, any form of resources that is coming from Africa or the Middle East to Western countries is based on trade agreements that is based on the agreements that both sides are having, and it's a win-win for both sides, right? Nobody's stealing any resources from the Middle East or Africa. Okay, if any resources is leaving Africa, it's because the countries that own those resources are selling them to Western countries. I don't know what world you live in. And if there's any bombing happening in these countries, it's because those countries, the people in those countries, attack Western countries first. And it's insane for you to request Western countries not respond when they're attacked. Obviously, if there's an attack, there should be a response. They say fuck around and find out. This is the bombing is the find out part. There needs to be a response when there's an attack. Again, I'm not endorsing every single one of them, but I'm just saying he's generalizing.
You can fuck off and shut your damn mouth. And thank your lucky stars, by the way, that these refugees you demonize so much are innocent, decent human beings who aren't vengeful little gobshites like yourself.
Well, many of them... Okay, so here's the thing. Many of these refugees are decent people, even if they are coming in illegally and taking advantage of the system. Some of... I wouldn't... Not every... Just because they're committing a crime, I'm not going to say they're indecent people, right? You know why I'm not going to say they're indecent people? I will still support not letting them in, but I understand, right? If I was in their place, if I was poor and I had the shot, I have an opportunity. If I had looking at my child, and I want the best for my child, and if I could somehow illegally get in to, I don't know, Germany, and then take advantage of the asylum-seeking process and become a refugee and eventually become a German citizen and give a better life to myself and my family, if I was in their position, I would take advantage of that position. I don't care that if it's illegal. I don't care if it's a crime. I would take advantage of the situation. I understand that. I would want a better life for my child. I would want that. So some of them are dangerous terrorists and indecent, horrible people. Some of them are not. And I sympathize with them, but I will still not let them in. Because as much as I understand where you're coming from and why you're doing this, this nation state is supposed to defend itself. So I can sympathize with some of you and not with the rest of them. Some of them are just terrorists. Some of them are terrorist sympathizers. Some of them are just coming here just to commit crimes and stuff. Many of them are like that, and they should. I do not sympathize with them. Some of them are not legitimate cases for asylum, but I understand, and even though I understand, they should be stopped. They should be stopped. I can sympathize, but also you have to sympathize with the idea that every nation state needs to be able to protect its borders, or else the whole system will collapse, and it's not going to be a good place for anyone to live, including any refugees that are coming there.
Demonetize my channel because...
Okay, so there's that. This was another triggered person, racist person, but triggered by Tommy. So let's go see what's the next video. Oh, this is a video of Tommy himself. Let's see this one. Tommy Robinson speaks about Islamic Jihad in the UK. Let's actually see the caption for this video. What is this? Oh my God, this guy is butthurt bad. So actually, maybe I should share the caption. Who's this David Miller guy, guys? Can you introduce this to me? I don't know your... So this guy posted this tweet, the video that I'm about to show you, and he said, the state of Israel is burning down the UK. Wow. As I have been saying, Tommy Robinson is a Zionist asset. He is admitting that the cause of the anger of his thugs is Palestine. Wow. Okay, so he's saying that Tommy Robinson is against the people, like the Hamas sympathizing people, and he's recognizing that these people are basically so-called pro-Palestine. And this David Miller guy, apparently he's so anti-Israeli. Yeah, so he's a pro-Palestine activist. Pro-Palestine to me now means pro-Hamas these days, because we're pro-Palestine here, but we're pro-Israel and pro-Palestine here. But to me, when other people say pro-Palestine, I assume first that they mean they're pro-Hamas. But so he's angry with Tommy because he's saying the other side, the problem that he has with them is that they're Hamas sympathizers. So he's quoting Tommy from the video. So let's just listen to Tommy. Let's see what he said that triggered this guy. No, so somebody highlight that again, Alfred, that comment. Oh, yeah, this one. Yeah. Somebody saying pro-Hamas. There is no pro-Palestine. Well, I mean, we're pro-Palestine. That's why we support Israel. Okay. Pro-Palestine means to be anti-Hamas. The people who say pro-Palestine, they're not actually pro-Palestine. The people who are waving the flag of Palestine, they're actually not pro-Palestine. The best thing for Palestine is to support Israel and also support Israel's attempt to remove Hamas from Gaza, right? The best thing for Palestine is Israel being able to do what it wants to do in Gaza, right? So I want the best for Palestinian people. I want the best for Israeli people. I want Israeli and Palestinian people to be able to live in peace, security, stability, and have a highest possible well-being that they could have. And that's partly why I support Israel. So yeah, there are pro-Palestine people, you're looking at, I'm pro-Palestine. To be truly pro-Palestinian is to want to remove Hamas from Gaza, to destroy Hamas. Anyways, let's listen to Tommy. Let's see what this guy was triggered by, this anti-Israeli guy.
Oh, mate, good morning, yeah? Workout smashed, nothing better. Nothing better. Let me just get a little quiet bit here in the shade. Let me talk. I'm seeing lots of questions from members of the public saying, why are they attacking the police? Why are police stations being targeted? Just to give you a bit of a knowledge of why people are angry with the police, and to the men committing the violence, lads, those individual police officers who are coming out doing a difficult enough job have got families at home. They're ordinary people, okay? The people pulling their strings is who you need to be angry with. Why are people angry? I'll tell you why they're angry. Because Hamas were allowed to overtake London, overtake our capital city, every weekend, flying ISIS flags, Hamas flags, calling for jihad. The police did nothing. Nothing. Instead.
So this is what's triggering these people, because they're anti-Israel, and he's like, oh, these people are Hamas sympathizers. So because they're anti-Israel, they're basically pro-Hamas. So they're triggered by Tommy because he's saying
They arrested me. They banned me for 6 months. They infringed. They totally abused the law, and they lied in court, and they got found out. Yeah, people have now seen what the police are doing. Look at what happened in Manchester Airport. In Manchester Airport, 2 violent Muslims attacked officers attempting to do their job. Armed response officers. They violently beat 3 of them to the floor.
See, like, this is what I like about Tommy. After all the mistreatment he has been getting, he's still pro-police. He's still pro-police.
He beat 3 of them to the floor, battering a police.
Like, police trying to do their job. Like, a lot of people who are supporting Tommy, they're turning on the cops because some of the cops treat Tommy. But after like, I've seen how sometimes the police, how they treat Tommy. After all of that, Tommy is still pro-law and order. It's amazing. It's very impressive. Like, I don't know if I would be, like, I am right now pro-law and order, but emotionally, logically, I see how that makes sense. Emotionally, I don't know if I would be strong enough to still be pro-law and order if I was being mistreated that much. But Tommy is strong enough to still be pro-law and order.
Police woman breaking her nose. Now, we all know, okay, then they were held in the police station, and they were released from the police station because thousands of Muslims come to the police station and they threatened riots across the country. So the police gave in again, yeah? We all know if they weren't Muslim, they'd be in remand in prison right now. So until the police enforce the law equally across all communities, the resentment and anger is growing. People witness what happened in Harefields, riots, out on the street every night. Police weren't there on horses, they didn't have dogs, they weren't attacking people. Yeah? Everyone's seen it. We've seen the way you police us differently. People have seen the demonstrations differently. What you're trying to blame on the English Defence League, blame on us, is your fault. You've caused this resentment, treating communities totally differently, coming down on a ton of bricks on certain communities and allowing others to rape and pillage their way through this nation. We're at 40,000 terrorists on a watch list, jihadists, 40,000 of them. And you've arrested the organiser of a democratic protest in Middlesbrough. He's currently under terrorism legislation. You arrested me under terrorism legislation. To the people taking part in these demonstrations, we had 100,000 people on the streets of London in a peaceful resistance. That 100,000 will become 250,000. 250 will become 500,000. A peaceful revolution is brewing in Great Britain. A peaceful revolution.
He's so obsessed with just telling everybody that it's supposed to be peaceful. So how are you basically trying to get all the people who are committing the violence or property destruction or attacking the mosques, how are you trying to connect that to him? Like, how many times does he have to say that what he wants is a peaceful protest?
To the men in these towns and cities, and to the police.
Yeah, so somebody is saying Tommy is not supporting violence, but a huge number of Tommy's followers are in fact supporting those who are far-right violent mobs. Yes, this is the problem with every movement, okay? Like, guys, like, for even us, there are some people who support, like, I have a very small audience, but even I have supporters who are racist. You can, like, even it doesn't matter how many times I say that, okay, that's bad, that's horrible, like, this is like, not, I don't support this, these are not my views. But again, as soon as you grow somewhat, you are going to attract horrible people from every side is going to have that. But if I want to see if I could hold you responsible, it's to see if you are trying yourself to make sure you make those people understand that you do not agree with that. Have you denounced that? enough. And he always does that. No matter how much you try, at the end of the day, you are going to have certain group of people with really bad views or very bad methodology attracted to you. It's not that you shouldn't be doing anything about it. Yes, you should be denouncing it. You should be calling it out. You should be telling people and them that this is not the way, this is not what I agree with. But even if you do that, and you should be doing that, at the end of the day, there will always be some of them that will be around you because you're popular. Because it's popular. So how is he responsible for them? Again, those people are bad and they should be called out, and they are far right. But I don't understand how Tommy should be responsible for them if he's doing everything he can to basically disassociate himself from them.
Establishment. In 2009, when we took to the streets in Luton over the attack against our armed forces, when we attempted to have a peaceful demonstration, you killed us, you attacked us, and you charged us on police forces. Did that work? No. Our 250 people turned to 1,000 with balaclavas on. Yeah, you created Tommy Robinson that day, and in your actions in the last 3 weeks or since October 7th, you've created thousands of Tommy Robinsons. You won't crush people like this, okay? People, and to the lads taken to the streets in the towns and cities today, these young boys need leadership. Take their balaclavas off, take their masks off. They're going to get years in prison, okay? It's not helping the cause. Do you know what we need right now in Britain? What we're going to need, what your grandkids are going to look at what's happening now, and that you want to ask, was it a mob of coked up, drunk Englishmen? Or was it a resistance of dedicated, fit, healthy, ready British resistance? Because that's what's needed. Lads, you need to get in the gym. I don't want to sound like I'm preaching, but we need to be ready for what's coming, okay? Look, what we've witnessed since October 7th is like the trailer to a movie. The movie ain't even started yet. You see the rapes, you see all these migrant hotels, they're not slowing them down, they're speeding them up. They're flooding our country, yeah? We either win this battle, where we don't become minorities, and don't see every town and city in this country taken over by hostile jihadists, rapists, criminals, yeah? That's one outcome, or we win. Through peaceful resistance, we cause a revolution in this country, and the public are ready for it. Everyone's ready.
The word peaceful he's repeating it so much. Like, I think the main word that he's using constantly is peaceful.
Ready for it, yeah? The time is now. The time, and lads, up and down the country.
And by the way, the people who are attacking the mosques, the people who are like harassing Muslims, they are the worst thing for this movement. Like, if they think they're being patriotic, you're destroying Tommy's movement. You're destroying the movement of these patriots who are trying to, because they're going to use that against them. So the worst thing, the worst thing you could do is to be violent or to go harass Muslims. I mean, it's wrong, not just because it's just wrong, it's morally wrong. It's obviously horrible to go destroy someone else's property or to harass an individual. That's obviously morally wrong, but it's also strategically wrong because it's just going to ruin. Look how they're using that against the movement.
In the towns and cities, these young boys are looking for leadership, okay? We had peaceful demonstrations in London because we had leadership. We had committed men, not just me, we had committed men across that movement willing to stop people who were stepping out of line. You need this in your towns and cities. Well, man, you need this now in your towns and cities. It's a family putting their hands up, going like that. Everywhere I go, right? The public opinion's changed, lads. But please, man, there's young boys there. They're angry. I was angry. I said in 2009, we put balaclavas on. We knew nothing else. We were angry. We were forgotten. We were neglected. Our town was being taken over. Our daughters were being raped. People are feeling the same. But we're on the verge of something massive where we've won the hearts and minds of the public. Don't undo that, yeah? So, lads, in every city across this country, control your boys, man. Control them, direct them. A peaceful resistance is growing. But to the people asking,
so he's saying, I understand the anger, but control your boys. It needs to be peaceful. That's what he's saying. He says, I understand if you're angry, but control your boys.
Questions of why this is happening. Why this is happening is because of a two-tier policing system which has attacked English people and a government who has declared war on them, who has not sat there. You know, after every riot, George Floyd, a criminal, gets killed, and our leaders, the capital burns, cities burn, people are attacked. 30 deaths in America. All this happens. What do the leaders say of our political groups? They come out and say, we understand your anger. We understand it. Well, don't you fucking understand ours? Don't you understand when they're raping their way through our towns and cities? When our daughters in every town and city are being raped? Don't you understand why we're angry? You can't just call every mother and father far right or racist for wanting safety. What?
So this is what's happening. This is the problem. So the response to the other side is we understand your anger, and the response to the other side should also be that. Like, I completely get that. So there's three things that the government needs to do equally to all sides. It needs to look at why people are protesting and make them feel heard, and do the things that they require to feel like the government is responding to their issues, and also call out the violent side and crack down on it, and also tell that community that the violence from the other side would not be accepted. From all sides of the protest, the government should be doing this for all sides. But the government is doing some of this for one side and not the other side. So when it comes to the Muslims, right, if they're attacked, if their mosques are attacked or individuals are attacked, the government goes and tells them, like, okay, this is not acceptable and we will stop this. And the government should do that. They should tell that community that they're going to do that. It's their responsibility to bring peace and security. But it doesn't do that to the other side. When patriots or people who are against mass migration or Islam, and when they are attacked, the government doesn't come like, oh yeah, no, patriots shouldn't be attacked like this, and don't worry, we will crack down on them, and we're going to find them, and we're going to stop. Like, it doesn't. The government doesn't come and step out and say, like, provide you that sense of security, right? And when the other side is angry and protesting, the government comes and tells them, like, we hear you, we will try to address it. What is your issue? You're worried that, I mean, migrants, both legal and illegal migrants, they should feel safe. Like, government is supposed to make people feel safe. And if Muslims or other migrants are feeling intimidated, or minorities are feeling intimidated, the government should come and tell them that, yes, we're here to protect you, okay? But why is it just one-sided? Why don't you tell this to the other side? So I agree that the government should come and make them feel safe. But it should be equal to all sides. For one side, you just call out their violence, you tell them, you label them all as far right, and you don't actually listen, you don't make them feel the part of it that is not violent. So you notice the violence, you don't notice the mass part of it that is not violence, that actually have legitimate grievances. You don't make them feel heard. And if you don't make them feel heard, you're just going to add to the violent part. You're actually making the violent part bigger by not making the non-violent part heard. You're calling out their violence, but you don't call the violence from the other side. You tell one side that you're hearing them and you understand them and you hear their concerns, but you don't tell this patriotic side, the side that is concerned about the mass migration. You tell them, okay, yes, the violent parts, we're going to crack down on that, but the rest of you who are peacefully protesting, we hear you, your concerns are legitimate, and we're going to do something about it. You don't have that message. It's not equal. I mean, put them side by side. This is why people think like you're being unfair to them.
They're asking you for safety. Save our kids is what they're shouting. Save our kids. They're our children. We need them protected. You're failing. People, you cannot rely on our government or police. They will stand by. Okay? We need to form a resistance. It needs to be.
I mean, when the other, even it's not even that actually. When the other side becomes violent, the main quote I hear is that riots are the, what is that Martin Luther King quote? Riots are the, hold on, what is that? Yeah, riots are the voice of the unheard. By the way, when Martin Luther King, when Dr. King said that, he wasn't endorsing it. Okay, he just said this is, a lot of people use that quote as if he was endorsing it. He wasn't endorsing it. He said it's something that happens. But he, in his rest of his quote and his rest of his speeches, you could see that he wasn't endorsing the actual riots, right? But when the other side does riots, you say like, oh, riots are just the voice of the unheard. But when the patriotic side or the anti-Islamist or anti-mass migration side, when they riot, shut it all down. All of it. All of them are far right. They're all responsible. Shut the whole thing down.
Organised, it needs to be disciplined. So please, I'm watching what's happening, and to the people who are saying I'm glorifying it, no, I'm not. I've appealed for calm the whole way. We organise ourselves, yeah? I'm just keeping the public up to date, which is what the media won't do, with what's happening and why it's happening, okay? And where that anger's coming from, okay? Unless you give people some light at the end of the tunnel, resentment and anger by you thinking you can hide these community problems. That's all it's going to breed. More resentment, more anger, more violence. Be safe.
Yeah, so again, this is not a threat. This is just what happens. But let me actually show you this amazing video that Susanna sent me. This is such a great video because it really demonstrates how non-racist Tommy is, right? This is a video where Tommy helps a Muslim man clear his name from false allegations. And I'm going to show it to you. But before I show it to you, because this is such a heartwarming video, let me actually, before that, tell you that I'm not 100% for anybody. I'm not even 100% for me. Like, I am against myself from, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, right? Like, I look at my views from 2 weeks ago, like, yeah, okay, that was wrong, right? So if I can't even endorse myself 100%, I can't endorse anyone 100%, right? So when I see Tommy, sometimes I hear things and he does say things that I'm like, oh my God, that's horrible, that's wrong, right? And I don't agree with it. And the main things that I don't agree with Tommy is that the worst of them is that he's so into conspiracy theories. Like, he is so easily accepts conspiracy theories. He even thinks 9/11 was an inside job, which is insane. So he is quick to believe in conspiracy theories, and it's really hard for him to give up on them, right? So some of that's something I don't like about Tommy. One other thing is that sometimes he uses language that comes across by some people as racist, and sometimes I hear them and I'm like, yeah, that's not the right language. He shouldn't be saying it like that. And some people try to defend that by saying, like, well, he's not trying to be racist, because if you look at what he does, he's not racist. That's just the language that so many people around him use, and it just rubs off. And I mean, I get that, but at the same time, I don't, because that's, if you talk about the effect of environment, well, technically you could excuse every wrong behavior by that, because every wrong behavior is influenced by the environment you're in. So that's not really, that might be an explanation, but it's not an excuse. So sometimes he says he uses type of language that could come off as racist, and I'm against that type of language when he uses that. And one of the main other things that I don't like about Tommy is that he doesn't fact check when he posts videos. He's really quick to believe, and he doesn't wait. He doesn't look for the evidence. And he just assumes the narrative that is being mentioned on social media is true, and he just posts it. And he hasn't learned from that. Like, he should be learning from that, because a couple of times he had to come and apologize and be like, okay, that was wrong, I shouldn't have posted that, this is wrong. And then he does it again. So that's another thing I don't like about Tommy, and I think he should correct that. Okay. So there are fair criticisms about Tommy. And these three are my main three criticism of Tommy. However, he's not racist. He's not far right. He's not racist. And I have many videos to show that he's not racist. And this one that Susanna sent me. This one is the best, one of the best ones, right? And this is so heartwarming because let me actually read the explanation for what happened here before so you know the context before I play it for you. It says, Tommy Robinson helps clear the name of Morami, a Muslim man who was falsely accused of sex trafficking and grooming. Robinson was initially skeptical of Rami, but after that's a tongue twister. But after investigating the allegations, he found them to be completely false. He uncovered a web of lies and manipulation prepared by a woman named Ellie Williams. So Ellie Williams was this woman that made a false accusation against Morami, and Tommy basically figured it out, right? So figured it out, and he basically came and cleared out his name, who had previously falsely accused other men of similar crimes. Robinson's involvement in the case sparked outrage and accusations of racism, but he preserved, ultimately helping to expose Williams' lies and bring justice to Ram. Okay, so let's watch this video. So people were claiming that Tommy was being racist because he didn't believe that woman. I don't understand how that works out, but let's watch it. By the way, the video is way too long, so I'm not going to play the whole thing. The video is like almost 2 hours long, but the highlights are so good, right? So let's go to the 2-minute mark here. if I could get the 2 minutes.
And boom.
So first, I'm going to play the part that explains what was happening, a little bit of it, and then I will go to the heartwarming part. Okay, so this is just
We're on. And today's guests, we've got the man Tommy Robinson and Mo Rami. How are you guys?
Good, mate. I'm good.
I've done a lot of podcasts, Tommy. I've done a few with yourself now, but people's always asked you to sit across with a Muslim man as well. But you two have got a lot in common. That for people to understand that you've actually saved Mo's life, basically.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say I've saved his life.
You know, I'd say you played a part in saving me from a lot of grief.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. The MP might not agree with it, but I think it is what it is. But you did.
Yeah. But
so Mo himself is saying, Mo is a Muslim. He's saying you saved me from a lot of grief.
Obviously, everybody always tells you with that racist brush. Yeah. Let's be honest, but with what you've done here, there's got to be some sort of credit as well, because you were involved in a grooming gang with a young girl, 12 years old, travelling around the world with her.
Yeah.
Your whole life was distraught. This girl put a post out on Facebook. It was shared over 100,000 times. All the celebrities were sharing it, and it turned out that the girl was just a nutcase. That she's destroyed your life, your kids, self-harming. And the only person who tried to do the right thing was yourself. For people to call you a racist, you could have easily walked away from that. So there's got to be some sort of credit that you stood by this man. Why?
I wouldn't say I need credit, because my job was to go up and report the truth. I went up there with an intention of getting him, if I'm honest. Yeah. If I'm honest, my intention was, so I travelled to Barrow. The case was put up. A girl put up online saying it fitted everything. She named the same cities. I've been a victim of these grooming gangs. There's been a cover-up. I'm finally coming true. She's beaten black and blue in the images. It was a terrible looking image. And it fitted the narrative of what's been going on in most towns and cities, the cover-ups in most towns and cities, and the girl's put straight in jail. So at that point, everyone's like, what's going on? This is a big cover-up. I travelled up there. I got to Barrow and I started asking around, and I found out about a boy who she'd falsely accused of rape, and a boy called Jordan. And I went to his house, and that's the first thing I'd done. I went to his house. I said, tell me what happened. And she'd ruined his life. He spent 4 months in jail. She got him remanded. Yeah, she made Snapchat accounts. So the reason why I got remanded, and when I started reading I read everything. Yeah, I read everything, the whole case that he had. She was laying on the floor nearly unconscious. And
so he goes into the details of how he figured out that the whole thing is wrong. But I'm not going to go over the details. I just want to show you some of the. Let's go to the 32-minute part where Mo is explaining how devastating this was to his life. And and then I will get to the heartwarming parts. Okay, so listen to this. This is where Mo explains when his son came to him and told his dad that saying, "Daddy, they're calling you a pedo." So listen to this. Imagine how devastating that is. That your own son is coming up to you and noticing what the people are calling you. Listen to this.
Before we're dealing with my son in this state. Then they arrested me 7/7/19. Then 2 weeks later, he had a meltdown and he just didn't want to be there. And his dad, let's move. Nicola's there, my mate Jonathan's there, and we're just like, and that was it. And seeing him, going back, and I just felt like, what have I done? I've brought my kids to my life. I've missed out on the last 4 years, 5 years when I got married again, when I got with Nicola. I've lost out on their life 4 or 5 years, which to me is my massive part. And I bring him here, and now what have I done to the kid? Why is he going through this pain? And that to me it just made me feel shit, man. That was.
Oh, he's crying. Look at his tears coming out.
That keeps getting to me. And then I went on war. I went on a battle. I went survival, really. It was survival. Then I'm not gonna, your dad's been, Dad, you've been called a pedo. Dad, you've been called a pedo. That's what he said to me. And it hurts you when your son.
Isn't that the most devastating thing? Imagine your own child, your own son, Daddy's being called a pedo. Holy crap. That's a freaking nightmare. Right? And this woman who was doing the false accusation, Susanna, saying, yeah, she literally abused herself to take the photos to frame innocent men because she wanted attention so badly. That woman was ruining this person's life, right? But now let's go to the 45-minute mark, where Tommy is talking about here.
When it's gone on again with multiple other victims. But as I said, I couldn't find any other victims in Barrow, and I spent time there and spoke to everyone and was questioning everyone. And the lies, yeah. So Jordan Trengrove, she falsely accused him of rape, sets him up, creates evidence. When they find out it's all fake, they come and bring him to court. He gets discharged from the court, and that's when they arrest her. So I went to the demonstration that was going on. And
so that's the first demonstration.
Found out she was getting to jail.
We had no. I didn't even know she was getting done for perverting the course of justice.
Did you know this?
I knew, yeah, I knew, and I didn't know Mo. So I knew all these other names.
Yeah,
but I didn't know about Mo till after when I come to your house that day.
Yeah. I think a week or so you were looking into.
I got the files like that given to me.
When did she get charged with that?
Ages before, wasn't it? No, I see what I think. That's when I looked at it. I thought, you falsely accused 3 men of rape, yeah? Now you're getting done for it. So what fits? The day before, like, you know this charge is coming. She knows what she's done. It was Muslims, and they trafficked me. That's what I thought. Well, that's clever, because now you got the public support, yeah. Whereas
so he was suspicious because she's saying all Muslims because to get public support. So Tommy was suspicious of it, like, oh, you're being.
That's clever. The reason why you've said these men raped you. That's what I thought. That's what I was trying to. But many times I was going down different paths, thinking, what's she doing? What is this? Has this gone on? Why has she done that? But then my main concern was this is going to discredit many victims. This is going to be a absolute catastrophe for victims of sexual exploitation in towns and cities that have happened in control of Muslim gangs. Yeah, that's my thing. I thought, this is terrible. Yeah, that's terrible. Their life's fucked off it, and I don't think any media who could have come out. There were no restrictions. They could have come out and made it very clear to people what had gone on previously to this. The dad, the mum knew what had gone on. A lot of people in that town knew what had gone on, but no one mentioned it. So the way it looked, no one knew she'd falsely accused other men. No one knew. Everyone thought when they were reading false accusations, she's in prison for false accusations. They all think it's false accusations against Mo Rami, Muslim man, Muslim business. So that's the way it was portrayed to the whole British public, and not the British public, the world's public. The world.
Rwanda. They went to Rwanda. There's on YouTube. I can't believe it. Somebody sent me a link, and there's like 4 Rwanda guys, and they're doing Justice for Ellie. We're doing the dance, man. We're doing the walk, and I'm like, you are. I just looked at Nicholas and love. So fucking in Rwanda, right? It's ridiculous.
Life spreads around the world.
How difficult is it going to be now, though, Tommy, for exposing grooming gangs, and you've always been at the forefront? That how does that then change your motives to then your journalism kind of thing?
It doesn't change mine. I just hope it doesn't. And
it can affect it because people will then use this card that
this fake.
Yeah.
Well, it's opened the door to that now. Well,
it has. Definitely. It's opened the door to it. But what it's also done is has the opportunity to give a voice to men, Muslim or non-Muslim, who have been in this position, who are up and down the country. Lots of men are in this position. Yeah. Lots of men.
See, this is, I don't know. He's just he's so fair. He's like, aren't you afraid that this case is going to make a lot of people dismiss all these other cases that the Muslim grooming gangs are doing these to girls? He's like, his priorities is that, men, Muslim or non-Muslim, it doesn't matter. The false accusation, it has given, he cares about men being falsely accused as well, regardless of them being Muslim or not, right? So let's go to the 54-minute part, because I want to make sure there's a part of this that is so heartwarming. I want to get to that, but this one is not that yet. This one is, I like this part because it shows that Tommy really understands the difference between being anti-Islam and being anti-Muslim. I know, and I don't know why so many people struggle with it. And to be honest, even Mo here struggles with it, like doesn't understand that. But Tommy, it's a pretty simple concept, and people don't get it, but Tommy gets it. And I wanted to highlight this part because a lot of you guys, when I say I'm anti-Islam but I'm not anti-Muslim, they're like, psh, Armin is not, strong enough, is not standing strong enough against Muslim. Armin is a Muslim sympathizer. So because you guys don't understand, but a lot of you agree with Tommy, I will let Tommy show you how to be anti-Islam but not anti-Muslim. So let's play this
prayer
part.
You do. And I said, God, I know I've done that, right? Oh, and again that. Please forgive me on that, but I haven't done this, what they're saying. I've not done this. So, I'm not faith is blind. I believe in God. Allah and I don't push on anybody. It's my belief. You know, I'm a Western man as well, living in a Western society. So I've got my balance of my religion and my culture.
See, so like I'm a Western, yeah, I am a Muslim, I am a believing man, but I'm a Western man. So see, this is what I'm talking about. He sees himself as a Western man. So he has the identity of being a Westerner. You know, there's not a contradiction.
I haven't done this, what they're saying. I've not done this. So I'm not faith is blind. I believe in God. Allah and I don't push on anybody. It's my belief. You know, I'm a Western man as well, living in a Western society. So I've got my balance of my religion and my culture and my culture.
My religion and my culture. He's separating them.
I've got my parents' culture. I've got the tradition. I've got values. I've got morals, and I've got my religion. And I think if you
see his culture is British culture. Like I have my values and then I have my religion. So his religion is not his culture. He separated that from his.
You know, if you put it all together, it's a very good concoction. But it's how you misinterpret it. It's how you interpret it. If I want to misinterpret it, you know, I don't agree with the radicalisms. I don't agree with anything that's radical. Or, you know, the bombings and the killings. No, that's totally wrong. That is Islam does not say that, and you know that as well, somewhere.
It does at times, mate. We disagree now.
It worked.
Let's do another one.
See, this is the beauty. This few seconds. So he's a Muslim, okay, and he's wrong about Islam, okay, and we could love him even though he's wrong. So he's a good man. He has British values. He has moral. He's a moral man. He thinks Islam is not bad, and he's wrong about that. And Tommy defend this man. He likes this man. They're friends with each other, but they disagree. And it's okay to just disagree. I disagree with this Mo. I love Mo. Okay, and I disagree with him. He says Islam doesn't teach that, and Tommy says it does, and they both laugh about it. They don't make this disagreement a reason for them to be against each other. Mo thinks Islam doesn't teach that. Tommy doesn't agree with that. Tommy is like, it does teach that. And they both laugh. So Tommy is not to be friend with a Muslim. He's not giving up his position against Islam to be friends with the Muslim. And also the Muslim guy, even though he knows Tommy is fully anti-Islam and he thinks Tommy is wrong about that, but they're both laughing about this disagreement. This is what we want. Look at this is such a beautiful moment. I just have to play it again. I'm sorry, I have to play this moment again. The moment where he says Islam doesn't teach that, and Tommy says it does, and they both laugh about it because this is just a disagreement that they're going to have. It's just such a beautiful moment. I just have to play.
My culture. I've got my parents' culture. I've got the tradition. I've got values. I've got morals, and I've got my religion. And I think if you put it all together, it's a very good concoction. But it's how you misinterpret it. It's how you interpret it. If I want to misinterpret.
So he thinks it's based on the interpretation. He thinks that radicals are interpreting Islam wrong, and he's interpreting Islam correctly. However, he's incorrect about that, right? But it's okay. We can still love him. We don't need to make agreement. Listen to this. We don't need to make agreement and condition for friendship. We don't need to make agreement a condition for unity and working with each other. And we don't need to make agreement a condition to celebrate you as a citizen of this country.
You know, I don't agree with the radicalisms. I don't agree with anything that's radical. Or, you know, the bombings and the killings. No, that's totally wrong. That is Islam does not say that, and you know that as well, somewhere.
It does at times, mate. We disagree now.
It worked.
Let's do another one. Joe, when I went through,
See, like, guys, like a lot of you come here on this channel, like, you know, for example, a lot of you support me. Some of you are Hindu, some of you are Christian, and you agree with my anti-Islam position. And then when I say something about Hinduism or Christianity, you get really upset with me, right? But why can't we have this attitude with each other, right? I'm an atheist. I'm an anti-religion atheist. I think Christianity is wrong, or Hinduism is wrong, or Islam is wrong. You guys don't. We have that disagreement. And look, Tommy thinks Islam promotes radicalism. This Muslim guy doesn't. They're friends with each other. We could have these disagreements and still get along.
When I started looking at him, I went through all of his Facebook, and I went back years.
Yeah.
And I found he was very pro. He had Winston Churchill quotes. He was celebrating when it was St. George's Day. Any event, he's sort of like, he was pro, which he was very
Also says, like, this guy's a patriot. This is a Muslim patriot. He celebrates British values, British history.
Patriotic. He come across as very patriotic. And then I come across, and he's standing there with this. It was hilarious for me, because I'm looking for him. This is years before. And his name, everyone knows him as Rami. He's wearing mare chains. When I'm standing as an MEP, he's got his mare chains on, and he's called himself Rami Robinson. This is years before. He's not mugging me off. Mugging me off years before. I'm looking through thinking, you cheeky fucker. Who's this cheeky fucker?
I actually changed my name. That was on the
changed your name on Facebook.
I changed book as well for about 6 months. I kept it as Rami Robinson.
So he's on a wind-up, yeah. So but that's his character, as you can see.
With being with Rami, like, how has it changed anything with you? Like, has it changed certain people, certain beliefs? Like, because obviously, look, he's a good guy. He's made his mistakes. He's fucked up. He admits that, like, as well.
People always presume that I judge all Muslims as one big group. Yeah. I talk about Islam. I separate the ideology from the people. Many of the times I've met some of my best mates are Muslim. Lots of the people I love growing up are Muslim. Yeah. So, but people have this opinion that I just automatically hate Muslims. Yeah. Because of the English Defence League, because of my stance on the religion, because of these things. So, meeting Mo was just it confirmed that. It confirmed how important it is that accusations are not made against people without every bit of evidence. Which everyone does.
See, what else could you ask for? Even if he's wrong, what else could you ask for? As long as we accept each other, as long as we treat each other well, if we have different views about things, and we could talk about it. We could talk about our disagreements. We don't have to hate each other for our disagreements. The only thing that we should be standing against is against people who wish us ill or here to harm us. But when it comes to ideas, why can't we just accept each other's disagreement and just stand united with our disagreements against those people who wish us harm? So let me take another part of this is the most heartwarming part of the video that I wanted to show you guys. Let's go to the 1 hour and 30-second mark. Let's play this part.
Yeah. But you know what it was? When he contacted me, come home.
So do you remember how I told you how Tommy gets emotionally affected when he sees other people's families? So this part, let me actually read it to you so you know what's happening, because I know some of the accent, you guys might not understand what's happening. So I will give you the context, then I will play it, right? So when Tommy first visits Mo's house, he notices the effect the false accusations have had on most children. So Tommy's empathy is evident as he asks about how the situation has impacted Mo's family, showing that he's not just interested in the story, but also in the well-being of those involved. Yeah, Tommy always has a soft spot for people's family. So this is Mo is now explaining this when he noticed this. So watch this.
We sat down, it's like me saying I even had to shave my hair off. I had to look like a thug. Meeting Tommy Robinson on my hair. I had to go shave my hair. I even bought a hoodie that day. I don't wear hoodies. This is my normal dress sense. I had to, because I'm meeting Tommy. I had got my hair shaved, got a hoodie. I thought, I look the part.
What's in that?
Oh, mental. But you know what? It's what you just said earlier. And when he sat in my living room and he looked over at my kids and everything, and he just, because you were the horses. And by the time you come back, and just me and my boys there, they're downstairs, he walks in, and we've had that bloody thing at the door, shook my hand, shook the kids' hands, and he just looked at it and walked up. First he complimented, he goes, nice house, man, like it.
That's your interior designer, I know why now.
And he just stood and looked at my boys. He didn't speak to me, he just stood and looked at my lads, and this is where I judge from a man's character. When he looked at my lads, I thought, is he weighing them up? Is he going to be a scuffle in me? No, he just looked and he says, I want to sit down. He goes, how's it affected them? That's his opening line in my front room. I think it was something along the line, how they're doing.
Why?
Because I thought, because I know how it affects mine. So I know how when people lying about me, I think that's affecting my kids. When the media print a story that's bullshit, it's affecting my kids. So I've already know that there's certainly big discrepancies and possibilities that this is a lie. And then you've got a family and then I look and think, how would you do it as a kid? I probably still don't even know if they know how they've dealt with it or really took in the adverse effect of it. Because that's the worst thing you could ever be called. And every young boy looks up to their dad. So to him, that's his hero. Yeah. No matter what, no matter even if you do wrong, you're your son's hero. So your hero's now being called a nonce by the whole town.
Is that still something you struggle with?
To be honest with you,
I don't know what else to say, man. If you think Tommy is still a racist, actually, let me play this part. If you still think Tommy is a racist, it's so unfair how different Tommy is from how they try to portray him. It's like night and day. Is like so far away from how this man actually is. So listen to this part. So this is more explaining how he doesn't see Tommy as racist.
Welcome to journalism.
So somebody who's came at the forefront and stood by your side when everybody else turned their back, that when you see Tommy getting attacked, how do you feel?
Oh, well, I now, when the people call him racist, I stand up for that. I'll challenge that. I question it. Anybody that I know, and I've said to, I will stand up anywhere and say Tommy's not racist. Don't say that. It's not true. And he's got his views on the Islam thing. We're still into talking negotiations. Maybe I might persuade him to change certain views. Nah.
I'll make you an apostate before that happens. But having a view,
that's so like he's trying to change his views on Islam. Tom is like, no, you're not going to change my views. I'm going to make you an apostate before that happens. And they're both, and this is the most important part. They're both laughing about it. Why can't we have that? Why can't we have this?
I'm about to back up with Andrew Tate.
I know. I'm waiting for that. That's what I was lining up. Me and Andrew Tate to have the clash.
But no, you know what? That's his thing. I don't think if you understand what he goes against it when he talks about Islam and Muslims, he goes about the radicals. He ain't talking about a Muslim like me. He ain't talking about a Muslim like my son. He ain't talking about us normal, real Muslims. He's talking about the radical Muslims. And that, I would stand with him if he was going there. You know, as long as he doesn't go to the degree of burning a Quran or anything, then, you know what I mean? It's wrong. You know what I mean? But
so if he's against Islam or the Quran, or if he wants to burn the Quran, I burn the Quran. He's saying that's wrong, okay? But it's not wrong enough to ruin their friendship. He just calls it as wrong. Just like I support Tommy, and when Tommy has like these conspiracy theory tendencies, I'm like, that's wrong. Does that mean that I don't agree with Tommy? No, I just have that disagreement with that, and that's wrong. That's fine. People are wrong. Everybody is wrong about something.
Just having respect, and I think it's like I watched his video the other day, and I think Tommy's maturing himself with his way he used to handle his campaigns.
It's not just against that. I mean, as an anti-Islam advocate, it's not just that we're against the radicals, right? We're against the radicals. Obviously, we're against anybody who's bad, right? Any bad person. But we're against Islam as an ideology. Okay, what does it mean that we're against Islam as an ideology? That doesn't mean that if you believe in Islam, we're against you. Okay, because it's okay. It's not okay. It's not criminal to be wrong. It's not immoral to be wrong. You're not a bad person for being wrong. If you could be a good person and be in favor of an ideology that I'm against, right? So it's not just like a lot of like more good Muslims. When I try to explain to them how I'm not against them individually, they were like, oh, okay, so you're just against the radical Muslims. Well, no, I'm also against Islam as a whole. But that doesn't mean I'm against you. Okay? I mean, that's so easy to understand.
Did you go and deal with them? And that's him now going in. He's becoming more professional.
Yeah,
you know why that's so hard to understand for people? Because I don't see, you're not Islam, you know, because a lot of people think their ideology is who they are. So when I tell them I'm against Islam, they think like, oh, so you're against me? I'm like, no, like, how could you be against, I'm a Muslim, so how are you not against me? Well, because Islam is an ideology. You're so much more than Islam. You are not, you know, that's just your view, you know, I don't know how to explain this, because after so many years, people still don't understand how we separate the ideology from the individuals. And after all these years, people still don't understand that. And I don't know what else to do to make people understand that.
Deal with things through anger, Tommy, if I'm honest. I watched you down in London at the weekend.
Let me actually turn this off. Let me actually show you another video, because when I come here and I say I'm anti-Islam, aggressively anti-Islam, and a lot of people think, and I attract some bigots sometimes, and then I say like, oh, we are anti-Islam because we're pro-Muslim. Like, one reason why we're anti-Islam is because we care also for Muslims. And people, then I lose a lot of people. Like, oh, this Armin is like pro-Muslim, so we don't like him, right? And like well, Muslims, we have bad Muslims and we have good Muslims. And then people say, no, we only have bad Muslims. The Muslims are ruining our country. Muslims are all pedophiles. Muslims are this and that. And like, well, that's not true. And in fact, Muslims can be many UK Muslims are patriotic, and they want to defend their nation state. They want to defend the UK against mass migration and against Islamization. And they're like, no, I mean, there's no such thing. You're insane. And I'm like, what are you talking about? There are many of them. There are tons of them. And I just want to show you that so you guys see that there are, like, I've seen many of them. I've talked to many of them. And here's one example.
I am Muslim, but I am against Islamism, save Britain from Islamism, fascism, and terrorism. The people of Britain, they had enough. They are not going to let these fascist, terrorist, Islamists impose their ideology to our children. If you come from other country here, you have to integrate here. You have to accept the culture. You cannot come here and stand against this culture and blatantly shouting, we are coming to take over. They are proud of having 6, 7 children and our government paying for their children. We have to shut down our border for at least 7 to 10 years and clean the country from inside, from this fascism, from this Islamism. I am saying this as a Muslim.
That's really interesting. That's the first Muslim I've ever heard come out and say this. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So he's right. I mean, I don't know if that methodology works or not. Like, he's a patriot. He loves his country. He wants to defend his country from Islamization. Do we agree with everything this man says? No. He's a Muslim, obviously. For example, he believes in Islam. Do we agree with him? No. Do we have to agree with everything he says? No. Can he be our ally when it comes to defending Western nation states against Islamic takeover? Yeah, he can be. You know, he's a patriot. He loves his country. He's wrong about Islam, and that's fine. That's fine. If he wishes, we could talk about it. If he doesn't, we don't have to talk about it. He's our ally. He's on our side. Okay, so guys, if you think what I'm saying here actually is helpful, if I'm framing things properly, if you think more people should watch this channel, please like the stream. If you think like I'm the balance here of being anti-Islam but also not promoting bigotry, not promoting anti-Muslim bigotry, encouraging nationalism, encouraging defending your nation state, encouraging defending the values that make your country great, encouraging protecting your borders, encouraging being anti-mass migration, not being anti-migration, being against unfiltered, uncontrolled mass migration, promoting anti-Islamic views without encouraging hatred towards individuals. If you think this channel, this Atheist Republic YouTube channel, is hitting the right balance with all of these things, please promote this channel. Like, go tell people to come subscribe to Atheist Republic on YouTube. I really do need your help. I wouldn't be asking you guys to do this if I didn't need your help. I need your help to go and tell people to come subscribe to this channel so that our channel grows. So please go ahead and do that. Word of mouth is the best way to promote this channel. And also like the stream, leave a comment, subscribe if you're new here, and also if you're subscribed, make sure you check that if you had to hit the bell notification so that YouTube tells you when we go live. Thank you guys, and till next stream, bye-bye. And thank you, Alfred and Dolly and Susanna. Susanna for the videos, Dolly for preparing the stream and also some videos, and Alfred for highlighting the comments. Thank you, guys.